fine under those conditions. I would still be a little nervous. I'd be nervous playing my instrument and singing into the microphone and when you're getting doused with water. A rough start to the tour, by the way, for Disturbed, because they got drenched in San Antonio. They had to cancel a gig the other night last minute because the heat, it was the Phoenix gig they were supposed to do a couple nights ago. They had to cancel it last minute because the heat had rendered their equipment inoperable. It was so hot. They were like, our equipment's not working. And we're not going to do a sitting on a stool Disturbed acoustic session. It's not really the vibe of that band. But I think because Disturbed's coming here in the fall, they'll probably be okay. I will have passes for you all this week in addition to Godsmack to put you on the Bud Light cruise with us, MMS and Bud Light. Captain Fun's Floating Fandango. We're going out August 26th on a Nautica Queen. Also, MMS presents Saliva and Drowning Pool at the House of Blues, end of September. I'll have those tickets for you all this week as well. I want to go see the Guardians and Asking Alexandria. If you're into that band, they're coming with The Who. Not Daltrey and Townsend. The Who, those
the HU,
the chanting dudes, yeah. The HU. They're going to play Masonic Temple.
Why would you name your band that?
Because it's clever.
But you know there's another more famous band with the same name. Yes, it's not spelled right, but I feel like that's asking for like a lifetime of confusion.
Well, I think the fans are going to know who you are. I mean, I don't know if anybody is going to mistakenly buy tickets for a Mongolian folk metal band and go, I thought they were going to do Baba O'Reilly.
I mean, even more from like a promotion standpoint, social media and things like that.
Well, I think if you heard it, you'd ask some questions. But if you see it, it's WHO versus HU.
Right.
The Who.
But if you hear about it and then you go to look it up.
Understood.
All you're going to find when you throw the Who band into Google.
I think that's part of it.
What do you mean?
You want people Google, hey, the Who, what's up?
But that's I'm saying that they are not as popular as the other Who.
Yes.
So the other Who is gonna have the more Google searches and stuff.
Yeah, possibly.
It just doesn't seem smart to me.
Well, should have been the why.
I think it's pretty smart actually, because if you were to Google the Who, Cleveland Masonic, even if you type WHO, HU is going to come up.
The Who, Cleveland Masonic.
So
Masonic Temple. I mean, the band doesn't show up at all.
Oh yeah.
Theo Vaughn shows up somehow. But like Temple Live, like all these, the Cleveland Masonic, a bunch of pages for that, but nothing shows up. Maybe
they have to, A, your fans are going to find you. B, maybe they rely on context clues, right? If they go, so-and-so with special guest The Who, Daltrey and Townsend, that's, first of all, I don't think they're touring currently, but also, they're not opening for anybody. Anyway, I think it's, I don't think it's particularly, I wouldn't call it clever, but I think anybody who, they can benefit from confusion is what I'm saying. So, listen.
Well, this is the world we live in.
Now, it didn't exactly work for my old band, Creed, because, boy, there was a lot of confusion. C-R-E, we had an extra E.
Oh, 3 E's.
And then an E at the end. So it was C-R-E-E-E-D-E.
Yes.
Yeah. And poor Creed Bratton. I mean, he's a musician going back to the 60s. Mm-hmm. The Office is just a little stop-off for him. Boy, you got to make sure that when you get those concert announcements out there, that his last name is on the bill. Talk about disappointment.
Yeah.
With all due respect to him. Hey, Creed's coming to the House of Blues. You go, what? It's Creed Bratton, playing his hippie music.
As someone who has the name of someone else with a more popular performer with that name, I wish I would have gone by a different name.
But you don't go by Billy.
Yes.
William Squire, who is
leads everybody to make a bunch of dumb jokes.
So that's what I'm saying.
You're talking about William Squire, the bluegrass flutist.
No, you idiot.
Flautist.
Talking about Billy Squire, the rock musician.
Oh, boy.
But I'm saying that's probably why you don't go by Billy.
Well, people always called me Bill, so I just went by Bill. I just went by what people called me.
But your parents called you Billy when you were little.
When I was little.
Right. You could have kept that. I mean, I always thought Johnny Depp, Johnny Carson. These people that take their kind of kid name and that becomes their professional name? You know, Cody Brown.
See, but when I went into kindergarten, I went by William because I was like, school is serious. Need a serious name. So if I would have gone by William Squire, I feel like I would have really surprised people with all the fart and wiener jokes.
You should just add something to it. Like Lil Nas X. Like, it was like, instead of Nas, there's Nas and then there's Lil Nas X. How do you think Nas feels?
Oh, now I get it. I thought it was Lil Nas at 10th. Oh, now I get it. That makes a lot more sense. You should have been Will Squire.
Yeah, it's just
Lil Squire X.
I didn't think that much about it, and I already, it's been 20 years, so.
Well, plus you
change it now.
Nobody can anticipate that they'll end up being a performer, really, either. Mm-hmm. You need a professional name.
Alan, Rich down in Jacksonville, Florida, listening back from the podcast on Friday. You guys are discussing lottery winnings and having to split it with your spouse. Mary wants to hide it from her spouse and it says not tell a soul, but give $200 million to a friend to cash the ticket in for her on a $750 million jackpot. After taxes, her friend's walking away with more money than she is anyways.
No.
What sense does this make? Hate the show. Bye.
I mean, I don't really want to relitigate Mary's anonymous lottery winning scheme.
You guys,
doesn't even rise to the level of a scheme, but I mean, to Rick's point,
the whole point of that conversation was that you guys said there was no way to hide your winnings from a spouse.
And I stand by that.
And I said that is incorrect. And then I gave a full rundown of how you could go about hiding your winnings.
None of which made sense.
All of it made sense.
Or was applicable to real life.
All of it made sense. All of
Which
it.
part made the most sense?
The part where I buy a bank in the Swiss Alps and deposit.
Oh, I thought it was the pyramid. Oh, yeah, because you asked how much is an Alp.
No, what is an Alp?
What is an Alp and how much does it cost?
Hello, Switzerland. What is an Alp? May I hide my money there?
That part made sense.
See, so you said none of it did.
Yeah, okay.
So you're wrong.
You wanted a mountaintop lair. I just forgot all of the side streets we went down in pursuit of trying to find a usable.
You little naysayers, you little negative Nancys were like, there's no way ever on earth you could potentially, possibly ever hide your money from your spouse. And
so much nay being said around here, and I should apologize for that, I guess.
Plenty of ways.
Huh.
I just hashed out one.
Yeah, you did.
That's all.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's what I want to do. I'm a very generous person. I would love to share my winnings.
Give me $500 right now.
I don't have it right now.
And poor Rick down there in Jacksonville, who's trying to make sense of it using the actual numbers.
Don't do that.
This guy, don't do that. Have you learned nothing, Rick, from this program? There's just more questions than answers on a day-to-day basis.
And this is also given the circumstance someone hates their spouse and doesn't want to share the money. So you would go to big, extensive loopholes.
Oh, there are entire shelves on bookstores of guys who have written books. Here's how to hide money from your spouse
That's what I'm saying.
when you plan on getting divorced. Yeah, don't get screwed. You know, like guys that are like way into men's rights activism and things like that. Yeah. Don't let the old lady screw you.
Plus, taxes is a scam anyways. Like, if you say you hit
no taxation without representation.
Say you win the lottery for $1 billion.
You win the lottery for $1 billion.
You're not really a billionaire because taxes have taken that out. So now you're only like a 700 millionaire.
Sure.
Oh, woe is me.
But that's not the
woe
point.
is
that's
me.
Not the point. I'm not saying that's not a lot of money, but there's a big difference between millions and billions.
Well, that's gross versus net. But you will be just take.
Can you up it?
Take a portion of the money that you sock away and sock it away somewhere else.
It's
you
not
will
the same.
But you will be a billionaire.
They're advertising it as, oh, you're a billionaire. I'm not a billionaire.
But that's also if you take
they're
they're
advertising that you won $1 billion, which you did.
And you can if you don't take the lump sum. If you
That's
take
right.
it, if you take it over 35 years,
take the
you
annuity.
will end up getting all of it.
Yes.
But so people are impatient.
It's just that nobody will live that long. That's the thing. These 76-year-old,
And you don't trust the system either. The laws can change to where they're like, oh, well, we actually need that money and blah, blah, blah.
Right, but the bottom line is you're still going to be wealthier than any other person you've ever met. So to complain, I don't really have $1 billion. I only have $770 million. No one is going to go, you know what? He's right. The system must change.
What if you lived in like a gated community full of nothing but lottery winners? Like they all live together. They all know like the
I'd
deal.
watch that reality show.
Yeah.
There
Welcome to
is a reality show called The Lottery Ruined My Life.
Powerball Cliffs.
But I want it
That's
to
a
be-
great show.
I want it to be all the people living together.
Yeah, just one community where like they're
You
all
guys
You won the
don't-
lottery, but this is where you have to live now.
Yeah, they're all new money.
It's called Jerry Springer. You've seen this show before. These are just hillbillies who don't know how to have money, and they end up fist fighting each other. You've seen the show.
Right, but there are a
I want
lot.
'em
You
in
don't
their
have to be.
houses.
You don't.
I want them in their houses.
But you don't have to be a hillbilly to not know how to handle money.
But hillbillies and poor people are the ones who are buying lottery tickets. Rich people do not gamble.
There are people with money who buy lottery tickets.
Sure.
This note, they refer to the lottery as a regressive tax. A, I get what they mean, but B, no one's telling poor people to buy lottery tickets.
No, but it's a
Right?
promise
They-
of all your problems could be fixed
Not
for
a
just $1.
promise. It's gambling.
Well, no,
The
it's
fact that a certain portion of the population is more prone to needing that kind of money. Absolutely. I understand where the pathology comes from. What I'm saying is there are all kinds of people who play the lottery.
right, but it tends to. You guys don't like it when I use this word. I feel like it preys on poor people by saying, look at all of these things you could have.
You're not alone in
by
that belief.
just spending $1.
I understand.
Look what you could get. And people who have money don't have the same need for it, right?
But there are also
so if all your bills are paid, you don't need the chance at freedom
understood.
because you have financial freedom,
Understood.
right?
What did I say last week?
Nothing.
A lot of poor people consider themselves Oscar Wilde, right? Or sorry, Upton Sinclair. Poor people consider themselves temporarily inconvenienced millionaires. And that is how you get people, for instance, to vote against their own interests financially. Because in the back of their mind, they go, well, someday I'll be rich. And I don't want the government taking all my money. And that's how they get people to vote a certain way. Those people, 99.9% of them are never rich. But there are a lot of poor people who don't play the lottery. Because they're like, well, it's gambling, and it's...
There's a lot of poor people who don't play the lottery, but the majority of people who do are poor.
Correct. Yes.
The majority of people who gamble are poor.
And that goes across, that's a classist thing. That
Yes.
goes across ethnic lines.
I just say
Gender
hillbillies
lines,
'cause that's my family. That's what I'm
No, I
used to
understand.
being around. But yeah, it's a 100% lower class thing is gambling.
Lower income.
Well, what's the difference?
Lower class implies that maybe I don't know.
I'm not saying the classy level like that.
There's some,
You're
no
not?
one with a monocle has ever played the lottery.
Just look at the guy in the Monopoly board. That
Exactly.
tells you all you need to
He
know.
had to get
owns
rich
it.
somehow.
He
That's
owns
right.
it.
I feel like I'm not playing correctly when I'm doing the scratch offs.
Are you losing?
Well, like I don't.
Then
know
you're
if I'm
not playing correctly.
I don't know if I'm scratching off the right ones at the right time. Like,
Well, then
There's
don't
no
play.
time. Cody,
How about
it's
that?
not
Just
that
don't
hard.
play. You want to talk about somebody lighting their money on fire? Why are you playing scratchers in the first
I
place?
don't. I get them as a gift, and then I'm like, okay, I scratch off this one and this one. I'm like, oh, was I supposed to scratch that off? And then,
Scratch it all. Scratch the whole thing.
okay.
Only you could make scratchers complicated.
I had to FaceTime my friend. I was like, am I doing this right? And she
Am I
was like,
doing
watching me
this
scratch 'em
right?
off.
Just scratch everything on the front of the thing. Anything that's got that silver layer on it,
It's
scratch
so-
that off.
So messy.
It is messy.
By the way, you don't even have to scratch. Like, that's the
You can
fun.
scan it now.
Now you
Yeah.
scan
That
it.
is so. Listen, you
Lazy.
got a problem.
We got a
babe.
purist here.
You got a problem.
you
You can't
take away
take
the fun.
you can't take away the 90 seconds it takes to scratch
Oh
it
no,
off.
I'm on your team with this, but you've
Don't
seen
just
people.
go for the
You've
barcode.
seen people with
Yes.
a problem.
Oh,
They
no,
buy
I know.
them, and they hand them right back to the guy.
Yeah.
Scan them.
you don't even want to play.
Nope.
No, they don't want to play. It's not about that.
I want to know if I won. That's all they want to know. Yep.
I'm looking for a dopamine hit, baby. Give
But
it
that
to
is
me.
no fun. That is no fun.
Yeah, addiction's no fun.
Hey,
How do you like
Donnie.
that?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey, Donnie. How come we don't ever hear from Donnie anymore? Remember Donnie? Donnie the intern?
This is Donnie.
No.
Let's talk to this Donnie.
This isn't Donnie. I wonder where other Donnie is. Maybe life's too good for him now. Maybe he hit the lottery. What's going on, Donnie?
No, this is Johnny with a J.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you,
well-
Poundcake. Doing my crack squad back there, Donnie. Sorry, Johnny
Hey.
is his name. Right. Johnny. Okay.
So I was thinking the other day, I'm not 100% sure who funds the lottery when it keeps going up and up, but wouldn't it benefit the government if they just continue to let it grow so that they got all that tax money? It grew and grew for them.
I don't know. I mean, because it does different things in different states, right? In Ohio, what does it benefit? Education, right? But I think the deep, dark secret about that is it doesn't really add to it. They just remove that from the budget, right? So it's kind of zero sum. When I lived in Pennsylvania, they were like, the Pennsylvania lottery benefits older Pennsylvanians because the median age in Pennsylvania is like 102 or something. So it's changing a little bit. When I lived there 20 years ago, that's what it was. And so state to state, it can be different. But the intricacies of it, I don't know. I play very infrequently. It was like Gwen will be like, hey, did you buy a Powerball ticket? I'm like, didn't even occur to me. Nope, I did not. When we were in Jersey last summer, when the Powerball was like $400 billion or whatever it was, we were on the Jersey Shore, and we were going out day drinking with some friends who live in New York who came in to hang, and we were coming back just stumbling around like, hey, let's go into this liquor store and buy some Powerball tickets. And that's what we did. But I had to be off my nut to walk in and buy Powerball tickets. And I think I bought like $10. What's a Powerball ticket? $3?
Yeah, if you do a power play.
I bought like whatever the multiple of that is. I bought like $15 in Powerball tickets.
You don't have to do a power play.
And
Then
spoiler,
like
I didn't win.
No.
So I'm only out $15. But Mary has got thoughts on, determining what an Alp is, and then determining how much one of those would cost.
I don't want to buy the Alp. I want to put my money in the Swiss Alps bank.
Now, Mary,
The Swiss Alps.
Yeah.
I think I probably know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask you just to make sure.
Here we go.
How many times does a gambling addict have to win in order to keep playing?
Oh, baby, it's not about winning.
But if they do, but some of them do.
It's all
win.
about that rush.
If
No,
they play often enough.
What I'm telling you is there is no end to it. Winning is the worst thing that can happen to a gambling addict.
Because they're like, oh, I was right all along.
No, you
Just have to keep
win, and then
playing.
you have money to keep playing with. So
Let
say
it
you're
ride.
out, say you're out 10 grand on the year, and you hit for $5,000. You're like, well, now I have $5,000 to make up that other $5,000.
Wow. Okay.
And also, at that point, it's not about the money anymore. When you're an addict, it's about the dopamine hit. It's like the money is secondary to the chemicals your brain releases.
But isn't the initial, let's say on day one, because you have to discover you're a gambling addict.
Mm-hmm. Well, you become a gambling addict.
Okay, but on day one, it is about the money.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
But when
It's the pain and pleasure thing that tips the other way.
it's your first big win and that feeling and that rush and that, oh my God, look at all that I can do with this. I'm invincible. I can't lose. I'm going to do this forever. Why don't I just gamble?
I'm invincible. I can't lose.
If I could do that, well, it's like
Oh.
if you say you hit for $5,000 at a casino on
Yeah.
a slot machine, and you're like, oh my God, if I can do this 5 more times, I can pay off my car. That seems so
Right.
easy. Just let me
Right.
do this 5 more times.
And it
then
doesn't-
you start
and-
chasing and chasing and chasing.
and the
chasing.
sickness doesn't let them realize that that's a near impossibility.
Well, because it already happened to you.
Well, it
So
happened
s-
once.
It happened, but it happened.
Believing it's gonna happen 5 more times
But the
is where
fact-
the sickness comes in.
The fact that it did happen means it can happen,
Okay.
right?
Oh.
Well,
so it's
everybody
like it can happen.
but everybody knows it can happen. But will it happen in succession? You're saying that's where
There's no reason it can't,
Ah.
other than statistics.
Uh,
Let's throw
right.
those out the window.
other
for a while.
than math, probability. Right. Okay, well, there it is. I've got to take a break here. Hey, you want to join us end of next month, the 26th to be precise, on board the Nautica Queen for the return of the Alan Cox Show cruise with MMS and Bud Light. Captain Fun's Floating Fandango. You got to win your way on, and we will do just that on the way back. If you want to text for anything else, 35192 to get me there.
It's the Alan Cox Show. Everywhere on our free